Well, I was thinking about not making any videos, but I always see or hear something or just remember something that's something else I can make a video about. The usual things that people enable and perpetrate but nobody cares about. So I'm calling this I guess maybe the minor craze, but I'm not really sure exactly what I'll title it yet. And so I'm trying to figure out a way to make this. So pretty much lately, with the uptick of old information that everybody already knows coming back out, really as a distraction, like the Epstein thing, the Diddy thing, different things like that. The LA RICO indictment thing that I made a post about recently that is being made about gangs as if like there aren't other people involved with that are in like other cultic groups, but that's a whole nother topic. But I can definitely say in the last however many months, or maybe even in the last year, but especially the last couple months, there's been a lot of talk about minors this, minors that, save the children, save the minors. And it even reminds me of a comment that I seen some months ago where somebody, I don't really know exactly what they said. They said something about the minors or something like that. And then someone was like, trafficking victims who are 18 plus go ignored and unnoticed. And it's like, it is really weird that all of a sudden people are now like coming out the woodworks claiming to care so much about quote unquote minors. Which is really weird because for one, the term minor revolves around weird legalities, specifically in the US. And it's like, for one, if most of the minor stuff that people are talking about now revolves around sexual things, they're thinking about the age of consent, which is actually almost non-existent. As I always talk about, it doesn't mean what people think it means, and it's well below 18. And it's so weird because it's like, if somebody's going through SRA experiments, MK Ultra, Delta programming, whatever in the world, what does that even have to do with like the age of consent or being 18 or whatever in the world? It's like, people are pushing all this minor stuff and doing all this save the minor stuff, and it really just shows, one, how much they really don't know jack about jack, how much they really don't understand legalities and hidden legalities, and also just how much they really still don't care about the groups that people are all of a sudden pretending to care about. Because like, for one, if somebody's being kidnapped and trapped and brainwashed and going through Ramco, why does it only matter all of a sudden? People are pretending that now it matters if the person is a minor. It's like, that would be not good regardless of how old somebody was. In fact, like I was just saying, people are thinking about the age of consent. So it's like, would it be okay for somebody to be taken through MK Ultra or experimented on or put in, a cloning lab or something if they're 15 plus or 14 plus, then it's okay, but if they're younger than that, then it's bad, since the age of consent is like max 15, or yeah. So it's like, there's that. And then in the US, there's also the drinking laws, and that's 21 plus. And then you're a federal minor till 26, so like, a lot of people don't even know that. But so it's like, if somebody was under 26, if they're 26 plus, then would these things be okay to do to them? And then another thing about it is that with how the cash for kids system and the human cash cow systems work, it's not like you just, you're born into it or you're thrown in by your parents at 10 or whatever, and then you just get out at 18. I do know in the evidence channels I did often talk about the whole sign yourself out at 18 thing, but that's not always likely to really be possible, and in most of these systems, you never get out. People die in these systems. They died in these different cycles to make them a statistic or just somebody who's forgotten and it's almost like they never existed. Then there's also something that a lot of people talk about where they think that like things really change when you become a certain age, but that depends on a lot of stuff. Usually it doesn't. I mean, really, with the documentaries I used to watch even before I became a street kid myself, or full-blown homeless anyways, it's like, it was always very obvious that most people who go through certain things, people who end up getting kicked out, who get dumped out the cash for kids system, like higher or lower level traps. So like you're in higher level and maybe you just, I don't know, you got some type of disease or they're just tired of you because, I don't know, maybe you lost your mind too much or whatever from all the torture. And so then they just throw you out. And, or you were like, I think I already said the foster kid thing, where you just end up dumped out. Or you end up escaping / running. So it's like, the people who do that don't end up running back to their abusive family system for like financial support and stuff, typically end up stuck. Like I've been saying since way before I was out here, because I used to watch documentaries about this since like, I don't know, 6. That's when I started doing research on a lot of things, more so 7 to 8. And it's like, all this stuff is really cycles and traps. It's the spiritual and physical side, and like, you don't just really get out at 18. Like when it comes to TTIs and stuff, people are now starting to talk more about how like, even though people sometimes technically age out at 18, that doesn't mean that they get to leave or that they ever get out. Like, you age out, but you don't have vital records. You don't have a ride to actually leave the place in the middle of nowhere. You don't have anywhere to go. What else was it? There's some other stuff I can't really remember. But you don't necessarily get to sign yourself out at 18. And then also it's like, with how people are so wishy-washy. It's like, you're a child until, which is what I talk about all the time. Although, realistically, anybody that's 10 or older isn't a child anyways. But that's not even really the point. It's like, people are now pushing this narrative that they care so much about quote-unquote minors, depending on what that even really means and what they're talking about. Because like I said, it's usually sexual stuff, which is also making it seem like these situations are consensual, or even that human traff is always inherently sexual. It's like, okay, I mean, the age of consent is 15 and up. But it's like, I mean, if somebody's getting assaulted or kidnapped, they're being assaulted and kidnapped, and it doesn't matter really regardless of what in the world. It's like people are going off of legalities instead of morals. Like, if I remember, I'll edit in the screenshot, but the whole Nova software underbelly thing has been being brought back up by a lot of people. A lot of people are like talking about the subject. I still feel like really for views, but anywho, due to the whole, what was it, ATM, P4, whatever in the world people, and the RICO indictment in LA, and I'm not even gonna lie, like I said in my recent post, when I first heard about the RICO indictment, the first people that came, well, wait a minute, the first person that came to mind was Nova, and then all the other people on software and underbelly, because a lot of them are in LA, or pretty much all of them, and a lot of them are in these types of cycles and situations on the blade or somewhere similar. Okay, what was I about to say? Hold up. Okay, I remember now. So, some lady made a comment and she was like, girls that lie about their age and get these dudes caught up need to start getting prosecuted, and there needs to be consequences or something like that. People say bullcrap like that all the time, and it's like, for one, there are consequences. Honestly, her situation is a consequence of being locked up in these systems. Like, literally, this is a consequence, and not that she did anything wrong or to deserve it, but it's unfortunate that these systems even exist. Because for one, she's in the CPS system or foster care system, which is why she's homeless anyways. Also the fact that people don't care to help, but that's a side thing. Another thing is that the U.S. locks up more quote-unquote children, whatever that really means, depending on how the person feels about the quote-unquote younger person. But the U.S. locks up more children than any developed nation. Younger people, even 18 plus, get charged for things that aren't even crimes for grown people. You're more likely to get a life sentence if you're younger. You're more likely to get locked up for anything if you're younger. You're more likely to get locked up for self-defense if you're younger, especially if it's against a parent or guardian or something like that. You're more likely to get locked up for anything because, I mean, you can get thrown in the cash for kids system regardless of what. And then with Abbott Allied, ICE, National Guard, military, FEMA people, stuff that's going on now. Like, if you're one of the quote-unquote bad, crazy, retarded, dark-skinned people, I mean, pretty much if you run into one of these, I guess I could say law officials, they can lock you up and send you to Alligator Alcatraz, some FEMA camp, off you, send you to some work camp, different things like that, just for being the quote-unquote bad guy person that's on the lower level of the caste system and class system. But anywho, I keep getting so sidetracked as usual. But yeah, it's like the lady said that, but it's like, oh yeah, and like I already said in other videos, for years now, the kid victims get charged with quote-unquote CP, what really should be called CSA imagery. But as I always say, there is no such thing as sex work. There is no such thing as pros. There is no such thing. No, all corn imagery is people abuse imagery of themselves and others. But yeah, so it's like you're saying that the kids should be charged and prosecuted, but they already are. They're prosecuted. I mean, people literally go to jail for being traffed. In fact, I have some screenshots, I don't know on which phone, but of people talking about how they were these quote-unquote minors that people claim they care so much about, how they got kidnapped and trapped, and how they ended up in adult prison for being trapped. And as I've said since the evidence channels, it's already a known fact that people who are being trapped commonly are locked up and charged with pros. So I'm not saying the full word, but that's really common. Not to mention, if you defend yourself from a kidnapper, you can get a life sentence or death penalty for that too. Because that's what these thelemite Mason law officials love. They love perpetrators. That's why the Mendez brothers thing is the way it is. In fact, I was thinking about making a specific video about how the dude I'm calling the gossiping queen, or Elvis, although his real name is Shane, that's causing like all the police chaos with his sexual harassment, who's in love with me and his own kids. He actually went on this rant about how the Mendez brothers thought they were going to get out. He's a good example of one, cognitive dissonance, and two, repeating the cycle because of demonization and just not giving a crap about how messed up it is. When you have cognitive dissonance and you don't see anything wrong with what happened to you, you're going to do it to somebody else. And I'm not making up excuses for his fiascos he's causing, obviously not. But it's like, of course somebody who was essayed by their own parents and now is essaying their kids and trying to essay other people is going to see the Mendez brothers as bad guys for defending themselves. And this goes into what I like to call the sixth commandment culture. But anyway, to get back to the point, because I'm going way off somewhere else as usual. Really got to try to not do that. But to get back to the point with the lady's comment about Nova. So, Nova was, I think she said she was 13 at this time, maybe 11 or 12 or whatever in the world. I know she was about 11 when a lot of this stuff started off. But let's say 13. She wanted somebody older to spend time with her and to take care of her and stuff like that. The usual situation. I think I already said she was 13. The dude was 32. She said that she was 18. Because he wanted to... because she wanted somebody to spend time with her, whatever in the world. He was talking about giving her some alcohol. And it's like, people are making comments like this, but the thing is, the U.S. has the highest drinking age. So technically, he would have been able to get charged, or should have been able to get charged for this regardless, because you can't give alcohol to an 18-year-old either. You have to be 21 plus in the U.S. So there was also that, and it's like, the people that see nothing wrong with 18 and 32, that just shows what they have going on. So there's also that. Then people are saying, he knew that she wasn't 18. He shouldn't have been with an 18-year-old anyways. And I'm not saying this to, like, make up an excuse for this dude, because it was wrong regardless of what. But I will say, you really can't look an age. Like, people have this whole idea of, like, what a certain age is supposed to look like, and that's really just not true. People should just... Okay, well, for one, as I've said before throughout the years, one of the things that keeps these issues going, other than, like, paraphilias and perversion and predatory spirits and marine kingdom demons, is hookup culture. The thing about hookup culture is that you can easily, if you really can't tell how old somebody is, if you're just sleeping around with any and everybody, it's really easy to get in this type of situation. And, two, what was the other thing? Hold up. People seeing each other as objects and just, like, something to use for your own desires. That's, that's a part of hookup culture anyways. There was something else I was supposed to say, but I don't remember what it was. But yeah, overall, it would be wrong regardless. And, there was something else I wanted to say. And apparently, one of the dudes who's being indicted was, or is, but at least he was a quote-unquote minor. And the thing is, I know people are going to feel some type of way about this, but anytime cops are claiming to, like, be doing a sting operation and finding the quote-unquote traffers, or the perpetrators, and all the perpetrators are kids, even if they're not, like, under 18, if they're just, like, younger people who obviously are also, like, recruited to victimize, or still are being victimized, which pretty much is about the same thing. Anytime it's like that, I already know it's some bull crap. Because, like, one of the things is that, even 4-year-olds are used to recruit people in a traff and to, like, lure people in. So it's like, of course, with the way the U.S. works, they'll lock up a 4-year-old too. Like, if you're getting caught being essayed by your parents, which I don't even really feel like the whole getting caught thing should be really how people see it, but this is how they see it. Just ignore that. It's like, you can literally get charged and get put in jail for being essayed by your own parent, and your parent won't get charged or go to jail. And there's even an example of this. There's many out there that people will never talk about, but one is a pretty viral video of, like, some boy who, I think his stepbrother and his stepdad or something, quote-unquote, caught him, quote-unquote, having sex with his mom, but really he's just being groomed and essayed. But anywho, he got charged and went to jail, but the mom didn't. And another thing I think about this is, like, if it was a dad and the daughter, would the dad then get charged and go to jail, and the kid wouldn't end up going to jail for being victimized? Because I feel like that could have even made the situation a little bit different. But of course, the moms or the women are always the victims. But anywho, what was the other thing? Okay, so to get back to the main point of the whole false, we care about minors bullcrap that's going on. So, one, as I already said, minor is a derogatory term. Really what the term revolves around is the whole children are meant to be seen, not heard, which of course can revolve around people who are well past 18 as well, because of, like, ageism and adultism and stuff. Then of course the I'm grown complex, which I'm not going to go into that again, because I don't want to get off somewhere else. What goes on in this house stays in this house. You're a child, so you deserve to have this happen to you. You're a child, so you should just hold on till you're older and then leave your abusive parents. And still get told, even in your late 20s and even in your 30s, that you're just not wanting to listen to your parents, and that's why you're homeless, or that's why whatever in the world. I don't know, I could think of so many different examples. Even if you leave well past 18, which honestly I would say, if you don't get out by 16, it's very unlikely that you'll get out by 18. Like, it's very rare for people to even make it out at 18. Really, a lot of people are just not making it out of these situations in their 40s. And, what was I gonna say? Like, there's even this lady who made a video, or who's been making videos that went viral about how she was essayed by her mom. And I even remember seeing one of her comments under one of the videos about Nova from Soft White Underbelly, and she was like, if she really wanted, this isn't word for word, but pretty much if she really wanted her situation to get better, she'd surrender herself to CPS. CPS is a human traff organization. Being in CPS custody is in and of itself being homeless. They have nowhere to put people anyways. Even if the social worker was like, I don't know, an angel that fell down from heaven, they don't have anywhere to put people if nobody wants to adopt people. I mean, I don't know what they expect to happen. This is why they're just throwing the kids in hotels and prisons and all the different things that happen. They don't have anywhere to put people. And it's like, surrender herself to CPS so she can get locked up in drugs somewhere. Like, if it wasn't for CPS and, of course, her family system, she wouldn't even be in the situation she's in. Not to mention all the side exploitative people that just see her situation as clout and just see her as a target for, I don't know, to be used for whatever in the world. And just like she said in one of her videos, I think on her own channel, but I can't really remember. Maybe it was in one of the interviews, but she was like, nobody ever would really just help her. Everybody always wants something from her. They either want to have sex with her, or quote unquote have sex. They want to abuse her or take money from her and different things like that. And the unfortunate thing, as I've been saying a lot since the evidence channels, is that people who actually are safe enough people who are healthy and financially stable and actually really have the ability in the situation to help somebody, they don't want to help people. So the people that are left are what I like to call let me help you lunatic complex people. Of course, sexual predators, and then other side toxic people that really can't help somebody and that are in the same situation or worse. And I don't know what else to say about that, because I don't remember what I was about to say. But it's like, I don't even really like how somebody who feels like, okay, so now I finally mastered my situation and got over my cognitive dissonance, and now I'm ready to speak out. So now let me tell somebody what they should do in their situation, or what they could and should have been done, even though the situations really aren't even halfway similar. Like, I would say the most similar things experienced in SA when it comes to this lady in Nova, but it's like after that it's kind of up in the air. It's not really even similar enough for her to really be trying to like throw input. And anybody that's acting like there's an organization out there to help somebody, they don't know what they're talking about anyways. They have cognitive dissonance, or they're like, I don't know what in the world. They just don't know what they're talking about to like put it in the nicest way possible. But anywho, throughout the whole time of being under 18, people are told, wait till you're 18, things will change when you're 18, and hold on and survive, and just get essayed and get sodomized till 18, as if like it's gonna stop. Although, depending on the type of abuser and like what type of spirits they have, they do sometimes stop at a certain age, because like they know that, or at least the demons know anyways, that you're gonna have like repressed memories, and you may not even remember that the abuse happened. So like if they stop at a certain age with really any type of abuse, they can like manipulate you. You can fall into more cognitive dissonance. You may be like, well, actually, since the abuse stopped, everything's okay now, so let me just not even leave my abuser, and I guess they're safe now, and everything is good now, and they did the best they could. I'm not gonna go into the whole they did the best they could thing, but you're literally told that due to weird legalities that you deserve what's happening to you, and that you just need to be quiet and stay put, and eventually one day when you're 45 you can leave, because then you're quote unquote grown. That's literally what you're told. People are literally doing all this pretending to care about quote unquote minors thing, whatever that really means, but literally just the term minor is literally like a way of saying you deserve everything that's happening to you. Like I mentioned the whole Billy thing, and how he's one of the usual victims of this quote-unquote minor stuff. And, I mean, let's be realistic. Even if he was, like, I don't know, 35, people would still want him locked up. But let's just talk about the fact that his situation was pretty much swept under the rug and covered up like he never even existed, like he never even got on Soft White Underbelly. I'm gonna be screwing this all, I'm not gonna lie. But people are acting like he never even existed. And it goes into like the bias, like, okay, if you're a quote-unquote minor and you're a girl, then we'll pretend that we care about you and we'll pretend that you matter. But if you're a dude, especially a quote-unquote black dude, then screw you, you can go to prison for the rest of your life, because you're a child and you deserve to be essayed, because boys don't get essayed, and if you did, it's your fault, or you wanted, or whatever in the world. So Yeah, like, I'm trying to think of a really good example, not just like some bull crap. Before I ran away, when I would do the evidence channels, no, that's not even a good example. I'm trying to think of something else. Okay, so I'm thinking of some examples from the evidence channels while having flashbacks. So, one example, you can't enroll in school because you're a minor. And by the way, a lot of people are spreading this rhetoric that like, okay, once you turn 18, enroll in high school. Actually, without a parent, you really can't enroll in grade school at all. Because then wait a minute, then they just feel like, okay, well, I mean, you're on your own, so you're technically grown, and it's like, if you're enrolling yourself, that means for one, you probably have nowhere to stay. Nobody really gives a crap about you, and you don't have anybody. So that means that you're also high dropout rate. You're probably not going to graduate. And I mean, if you're on your own already, then technically you're like a pedophile for trying to go to school. So yeah, there's that. But anywho, you can't go to school if you're under 18. What else? You can't get medical treatment. You can't go to a shelter. Not that shelters are safe anyways. Like, I would say, honestly, that's like the chomo, a phibophile, all-file, paraphilia, animal raping hotspot. And I'm not saying only homeless people, but it's just like the dudes in there aren't safe. I wouldn't even hang around one at any age, to be honest. But anywho, what else was I gonna say? If you're under 18 and you're getting that state, it's your fault because you're being grown. What else? You can't go outside if your abuser won't let you go outside because you're not grown. Even if you were 18 plus, I mean, your abuser could still report you as a missing person, get you trapped in a conservatorship. The police will still talk you into just going back home. I mean, even if you're 29, if cops feel like, I don't know, if they're just mad at you and they want to like talk junk to you, they'll be like, you need to go back home to your parents and you burned your bridges and you did something to get kicked out, stuff like that. Or you left and you have somewhere to go back to, different things like that. It's like the ageism really never stops. Adultism is always there, but it's like people have this like emphasis on 18 because of legalities. And it's just really weird. It's like, kind of like in that one thumbnail where this dude was like, is 18 a magic age or something? Because somebody was like, I don't feel like you should have kids under 18. And it's like, you're just focused on these weird legalities of the U.S. Because it's like, first of all, typically you're still going to be in high school at that age. You're typically still going to be living with parents if you're not like, I don't know, kicked out or didn't manage to escape something or weren't lucky enough to escape whatever situation. So it's like, I mean, why at 18? That's not grown anyways. It's just like people are just really weird with these legalities. And as I always say, it still wasn't that long ago where people are dropping out of high school at 14 to work in factories and getting married at 14. It's like people have completely forgotten that. It's like people want you to, they only want youth or younger people to be able to be terrorized pretty much. And it's like they're pretending that they care, but they really don't. It's like, okay, so you're born in a traff or you're thrown in a traff or the cash for kids system or human cash cow systems at, I don't know, 12. You're told that you deserve this because like you're a child and you have to be locked up and you have to be drugged and you have to do what children are supposed to do and be sodomized. And it's like you're being told all these different things about how you deserve it because of your age. And how you don't have rights to get a lawyer or go to court or live on your own or get a job because of your age. But you hear all these people doing all this, we care about minors bullcrap, and none of it's true pretty much. That's going to be like the summary of this video. None of it's true. People are just like pretending to care. They're making up these weird legality arguments that really just show how much they don't care about other people by saying, okay, if you're, I don't know, under 14 or 15, we're going to pretend that we care about you and we're going to pretend that you matter while uplifting legalities that keep you in your situation. And if you're, I don't know, if you just turned 18, I don't know, yesterday or tomorrow, and you're still in these trafficking organizations, you don't matter anymore because you're no longer a minor. And it's like, okay, And people never talk about the whole federal minor till 26 thing. As I've already said, it's like, okay, so like, I mean, you still don't really have rights until 26, so and then you're still seen as a child, or a kid at least, until you're 30 or 30 something, at least in like the US. I can't really speak for anywhere else, but in the US, so it's like, I don't know, people are just really, it's just really crazy. Like, people saying things like a minor shouldn't be in Hollywood, but people who are 18 or in their 20s or whatever should be in Hollywood. And it's like, I mean, typically the people who are in there that are in their 20s or that are teenagers, I mean, they've been in there since childhood, they were born in. So it's like, I mean, nobody cared when they were a quote-unquote minor. But now you're claiming or pretending that you do care about minors, but nobody's actually doing anything about anything. All talk, no, all bark, no bite, however the saying goes, I don't know. And that's why I always say, I don't believe jack anybody says. Nobody cares about jack diddly. People don't even care about themselves. You gotta save yourself. People are all bark, no bite. That's the moral of the story. In fact, in one of those screenshots, I can't remember which one, but I'm going to eventually maybe make that video about those. But in one of them, it's a timestamp for when Adam22 is being asked about if he would buy some girl. And of course, in my post I mentioned that ATM is actually quoting something from the case that actually heard somebody mention in another video. About Lady Duck being asked if she would buy some lady, and she was like, nah, and then they were like, well, if you don't, we're gonna traffic her organs across the border. And then she was like, well, what's she look like? But anywho, Adam22 was asked about that, and he just kept saying, well, wait a minute, buying a minor, because of course he doesn't want to be labeled off as somebody who is a bad person for agreeing that he would buy a minor. But then he eventually said he doesn't give a crap about whether somebody he doesn't know is unalived or not. And as you already know, obviously he's a Mason, which I talk about in the post, but 9 out of 10 he's a serpent seed, you know what. He's definitely born into a bloodline, and you already know, which I actually didn't know till recently, that he's a corn star apparently. And like, when you're into stuff like that, it breaks you down to a reprobate mind, aside from the organizations and bloodline that he's definitely in. So of course he's not going to care about himself or anybody when he's in the stuff that he's in, and he's into the stuff that he's into that has had him in a reprobate mind for a very long time. And what was I about to say? But yeah, anyway, he was like, I wouldn't really give a crap whether you take out some girl or not, but he just didn't want to say, yeah, I'll buy a minor. So he kept asking if the person was a minor or not, but it's like, that doesn't even matter. And then it's like, when people are saying minor, they don't even really necessarily mean minor, because like, those laws would revolve around different things that would be irrelevant to the topics. They really mean age of consent. So it's like, I mean, would it be okay for him to buy somebody 15 plus, or would it be okay for them to unalive or sell someone's organs if they're 15 plus? It's like, people are just, it's just really messy. The minor laws and the 18 plus bullcrap, even though it's not even the age of consent, but it just shows how a phibophile, paraphiliac, thelemite, etc., society really is. It's like, okay, I'm not going to essay you because you're 13 and maybe possibly somebody may call somebody, so I'm going to essay you when you're 15 or when you're 17 or when you're 18 or when you're 21. And it's like, how does that make anything any better? There's actually a video, I have to find it, I think it's in my predatory whatever in the world playlist, but it's about creepy dudes, quote unquote. And there's this one clip where this girl is in the gym and she's 17 and some old dude tries to like force her into a relationship and starts getting mad. And she's like, I'm 17, and he's like, but 17 is legal, and he's not wrong. I'm not saying that this is okay, but I'm just saying, people keep talking all this minor stuff because they really don't know what they're talking about. They don't know the laws, and they don't really care about the moral side of torturing people. It's like, I mean, people are people regardless of what. So it's like, I mean, I don't even know. It's just all weird. It's all fake too, like I already said. People are just like, getting into this, I don't know, hot topic stuff, acting like they care about things that nobody gives a crap about and never will. I mean, people are literally running around talking about some Epstein files, trying to sound, I don't know, like a social justice warrior. Epstein files for something that's, I don't even know how long ago did that happen, and people already know about it and never cared, and people are now acting like they care, and people are saying, oh, now I believe this and now I believe that. And it's like, I mean, for one, the dude's been running around with the other fake Euro Rev 29s in the fake land that's stolen in Northeast Africa, where they've been unaliving people for generations, but now people claim to care. And people use a watermelon symbol for the victims in this situation, because I can't say too much on here, which I find very ironic that it's a watermelon, but I'm not even going to go into that. It's like, what are they trying to say there? But anywho, they've literally been traffing their kids like they do to their own kids and everyone else's, and traffing the organs of the watermelon people for forever, but now people care? They being the European Rev 29s, if I didn't make that clear, because I know I'm often not really clear on what I'm talking about. But, what was I saying though? Oh yeah, and then when it comes to the actual definition of pedo, if I can even say that much, I'm not saying that it's right, but people are talking about some, oh my gosh, they got with a minor, they're a pedo. First of all, people don't even know the age of consent. Second of all, realistically, the definition of pedo is actually being attracted to people who haven't started puberty yet. So that would be like, I don't know, at least like under 8 for girls, which is still horrible. But it's like, people are doing all this fake care bullcrap, and it really just shows how much people don't care, don't listen to victims and their experiences, and don't know what the heck they're talking about. But overall, aside from like the whole girls starting puberty at 8 thing, if you really want to be more technical, at least being attracted to people who are like under like 12, 13, 15, whatever in the world, something like that, but especially younger than 8. And I'm definitely not saying this right, but chomoism is normalized in literally every society and every culture. Americans can push all this fake, we care, we're not this bullcrap, but they know what they're doing. Honestly, I see the whole minor craze no different from how people act like this is only happening to little girls or women or white women, especially the white women bullcrap. People need to shut up with that. But overall, I would say, yeah, maybe people could say white boys, but white women, I mean, I'm not saying that obviously certain people or really anybody couldn't get trapped. I'm just saying, like, people acting like white women are some type of status quote or something for people to like want to get with. I don't even like that, but I'm not even gonna go into that. But yeah, I see the whole we only care about minors all of a sudden bullcrap. No different from people claiming, oh, only girls were at Epstein's island. Epstein only cared about little girls, or well, not cared about. I didn't mean to say that. Not cared about, but people know what I mean. Anywho, and it's so weird because like man-boy love is a very ancient practice, and it's a very old topic, and people acting like there's like a gender thing with this is kind of like, what in the world? Because like as I've said before, I run into like spirit spouse, marine kingdom agent, sexual predators on a daily basis, and to be truthfully honest, these amphibophile, chomo, pred people or pedo people are also on the down low. They like dudes too, and of course they like little boys. And it's really weird because it's like these specific type of down low dudes, they like to pretend that they don't like they like to pretend that they're not into dudes by molesting or openly molesting girls. At least they're openly sexually harassing and assaulting girls, but then they secretly do it to like younger guys and older guys or guys their age, and I don't even know if I explained it right, but it's really weird. I honestly feel like that's a weirder way to hide being on the down low than the whole thing where like Jezebel dudes will make these posts saying I'm the last straight man on the planet. I feel like the whole being a chomo who openly assaults the girls because nobody cares anyways, I feel like that's a weird way to hide that you like dudes. But then also, lust is never satisfied, so like, if you have one paraphilia, you're going to have the rest, or you're going to eventually have the rest. Especially if you're constantly acting on it and constantly watching crazy videos. It's nothing like going to an irresponsible homeless resource center or shelter to shower or whatever in the world. And they have all types of bullcrap on the TV, which actually institutions aren't supposed to allow people to watch anything that's not PG, or at least PG-13. And they're not really supposed to give people the remote like that either. But they're not supposed to let anybody watch anything with like corn imagery in it. So it's like being at an irresponsible shelter just to shower, to get something to eat. And then like, of course, majority of the guys are really demon possessed and are predatory and have serious issues. And then like, they're watching crazy stuff that should not be on. All types of weird sexual stuff and like, just all types of stuff going on. And then they look at me or whatever younger people are around or whoever, but especially me, and they're like, so how old are you? And it's like, dang it. And it's just like, shelters are not safe. Those people don't care. I wouldn't advise staying at one anyways, but I really feel like there isn't a reason to unless the weather is like dangerous. But they typically don't have beds open these days. Especially like the South and the East Coast, because people aren't really used to like vagabond camp culture. So they're like, I don't know how to pitch a tent, or I don't know where to pitch a tent, or I could never sleep outside. Not saying that there's really anything necessarily bad about this, but like, this is how they are. So the shelters get full really quickly in areas like this because people just couldn't see themselves being outside, but also legalities don't help. But yeah, I've been thinking about making a video about that whole little shelter and them letting the people watch crazy R-word scenes and all types of stuff. And then like, it's just like, why? It's like they're literally giving people new ideas of things to try to do to me. Or worse, they have that bull crap on and then someone says, so have you ever been with a grown man before? And that's the telltale sign that somebody's a Marine Kingdom agent. I mean, obviously it's a sign that they're predatory, but Marine Kingdom / Spirit Spouse agents always say stuff like that. But that's not even really the point of this video. The point is that people are doing a lot of pretending and claiming to care about stuff, and even like claiming to care about things that are old news. And I will forever talk about the bullcrap with the Epstein files. It's like, people are asking for a very, very old list when they already know who's on the list anyways. And it's like, okay, so if they release the list, then what are you guys gonna do? Make videos, talk, go back to sleep, start mining crypto? It's like, everything that happens in this world happens because we let it happen. Because we're gods over our planet, although we gave our power over to the reptilians and the presidents and other bullcrap bloodline people. Everybody, including me, enables everything bad that goes on. And honestly, most people don't even want to get better. They want to be in the cycle of the matrix. They want to be the person that's the perpetrator. Because, quote unquote, they're grown and you're a child, as I'm still told till this day by random toxic people, especially Jezebelic black women, but I'm not going to go into that. And they have the right to do whatever because now that they're quote unquote grown and they're Jezebelic and demon possessed and living in the false self, they finally had their chance to do the same things that were done to them to somebody who's younger than them, so they can get their power back and have a sense of power and that's not the word I was looking for. And then people want to enable or be flying monkeys because they want to feel like they're a part of a team, or the whole if you can't beat them, join them. Typically people who become enablers not flying monkeys, enablers were abused by the quote-unquote narcissists themselves before at one point in time. I don't like the term narc. I don't like any of the psych label bullcrap. That's why I really just say Jezebel, Leviathan, instead of marine spirits, whatever in the world, false self, all those different things. If I remembered, I think I put the screenshot in here from one of like some video about Jeanette McCurdy, and somebody was talking about how she mentioned how she was able to cry on cue and how, kids shouldn't be able to cry on cue. I've talked about stuff like this before throughout the years when it comes to trauma, splits, multiple personalities, brainwashing, coping mechanisms, mostly splits and MPDs. I know I have the 2-part video series. I don't remember what it's titled, but it's about what's that dude's name? Tyler Perry, multiple personalities, being turned out from trauma, and how turned out dudes especially are known to like be really funny and to have like, they just use humor to cope, and like they just make jokes about different bullcrap that's happened, really like any traumatized person. But I talk about the God of Theater and trauma and splits pretty much in those 2 videos. And like I've said before, for somebody to be able to be an actor, they have to have MPDs and they have to have trauma. And anybody that can cry on cue, that's not a good sign. But like somebody who's younger, especially being able to cry on cue, that's definitely a sign of like a lot of trauma and abuse. Like there's literally a video out there of the interview or whatever it's called with the whatever his name is that played in the movie E.T. And I guess he was like, I don't know, 5 or 3 or something. I can't really tell, I'm not gonna lie, but he looks like he's a toddler or something, and he's able to like cry on cue. A baby, you're really, I can't think of anybody that really should be able to, but a baby should not be able to cry on cue. Definitely not like how he was. And it's like, they all go through MK Ultra, and people are always talking about the music industry and Hollywood, stuff like that. Trauma-based mind control starts in the home with the family, not out in the world, usually. I mean, honestly, if you get like abused and tortured in that state for the first time in school or something, or like at the park, you'd actually not be the usual person. It usually starts in the home. As I mentioned, with people like Y&W Melly and split personalities and all that, his abuse started in the home. Usual Jezebelic mom, multiple baby daddies, dad or stepdad didn't like him. I think it was his brother's dad, but I'm not even really sure. Roddy Ricch had a similar story, although his situation didn't end like Y&W Melly's obviously, but like he definitely was used for a little while, then thrown out. He being Roddy. And then one of the craziest things about the Y&W Melly situation is that, at least according to what the dude who says he's his dad says, he wanted to be around his son, but he couldn't. The dads aren't allowed around their kids. And as I've always said throughout the years, lawyers and judges hate real men. They only allow men to get custody when they're SAing the kids, and they do it on purpose. Then there's also this thing that revolves around people pretending to care about minors, or really just like younger people in general, and how it's just like outrageous and obviously like really ironic and absurd and not true. Whenever a younger person, especially really a girl, is like seen around or talking to like grown men, she's just gonna get called like fast or grown or a hoe or a prostitute or something. And it's like, also it shows like how people want to like make everything sexual as well, because it's like, I mean, maybe like 1% of the time really they're not being like abused and used, and like somebody who's older is really just like taking the time out of their day to do what somebody should be doing, although that's very rare because people really don't care. I'm not gonna lie. In fact, that's one of the things I've been saying for years, and I'm not really trying to make anybody depressed, but if you pretend people care when they really don't, it doesn't help anything. It definitely keeps you stuck in a lot of situations as well. It also makes you jump into situations that you really probably could have avoided. But it's really unfortunate because, like, especially in certain situations, it really is hard to really do anything or, like, get out or figure anything out when nobody at all will, like, at least give you some real advice, not like some victim blame, people like to help people that help themselves, or you don't want out because I'm a priest and I'm trying to help you and you're a beautiful 13-year-old and you don't want to be my living sex slave, which is based on a true story from that was some months ago though. But it's like, I don't even know what I was saying actually. After I gave that last example, I forgot. I think I was talking about how people, I don't even know. And as I've said before, of course BLM is like a cult and a scam and just a boule Freemason bullcrap agenda for many reasons, but BLM and ALM are lies because, for one, people can't care about people or their own quote-unquote community, but also hate their youth and unalive and terrorize and beat and essay their kids at the same time. Because, for one, their kids are their lineage. If they're destroying and traumatizing and terrorizing their lineage, then obviously ALM and BLM is a cult lie. And then another thing I want to add in that I really could have said at the beginning, something else that goes along with the whole we care about minors or save the children bullcrap that's going on, is that people hate homeless people, and people claim to care about the quote-unquote children, which you're a child until somebody wants to do something sexual to you or lock you up or blame you for something. Or they use the fact that you're a quote-unquote child as a reason and excuse for why they're essaying you, locking you up, and blame you for stuff. But anywho, people usually first become homeless by themselves, somewhere from infancy to 16, more so 7 to 16, for full-blown homelessness outside. And so, it's like, these are the same people that are now the homeless 60, 70, 80-year-olds, even the same vets as well. Because commonly, when the person turns 18 or maybe possibly gets emancipated, which is made really hard on purpose, they go into the military because it's marketed to them as their only escape and only way out, where they then go through more trauma-based mind control, end up more messed up, get forced on substances, are forced to do horrific things to people, and are then thrown back out on the streets at whatever age. So, people claim to care about the quote-unquote children, yet if people really did, the homeless issue wouldn't even exist. It would have never existed. People really, I know with the stuff that's going on now in the US dollar falling in America / Babylon falling as its judgment, homelessness is about to become very widespread. But overall, homelessness isn't something that just happens when you're, the lazy 45-year-old man stereotype. That's not when it happens. Typically, people who are homeless in their 40s, 50s, 20s, 30s, whatever, they've been homeless for forever and a day. And a lot of people grow up hidden homeless and don't even know it. Once I became full-blown homeless, and I actually found out the real definition of being homeless, I realized that me and half the people I was around throughout my life were hidden homeless. And actually I had been outside homeless before as well at 8, but I didn't know that either. Which is kind of funny because I remember my dad and one of my teachers had told me that they pretty much insinuated that I was homeless, but I guess, I wasn't listening. But a lot of people grow up getting passed and thrown around to different random people or different relatives or different girlfriends and boyfriends from infancy. That's not a permanent address. Which goes into how all this is a cycle, which could be a whole nother video. Especially with this lady I recently met, and what she has going on and has had going on throughout her life of being a foster kid, although she's 55 now. It's just another example of things I talk about every day for years, and how it's all really a cycle that is very hard to get out of, because really when you don't have anybody, I feel like that's the main barrier. People are talking about the white drug addict projection that I talk about really often, where due to the drug issues in the white community that have been long prevalent, that they now frame as a homeless issue. People see anybody that's in any situation that's possibly on some type of substance, even in communities that don't even do those substances and wouldn't be able to if they wanted to because they get thrown in jail right away. But anywho, yeah, so people also blame quote-unquote mental illness, which is so funny because it's an American obsession, and most Americans claim to have some type of quote-unquote mental illness bullcrap. Mental illness comes from trauma and the food and bacterial imbalances and parasites anyways, but overall trauma. So it's who isn't quote-unquote mentally ill? But as I already said, it's an American obsession. so people don't have to take accountability for anything. Whether they're the perpetrator or the victim, or I guess maybe the perpetrator saying that their victim is quote-unquote mentally ill, which is usually what mental labels are all about, or the perpetrator saying, well, it's not my fault that I'm doing this, and that because I'm mentally ill. But what people really mean is the age-old Margaret Sanger eugenics saying that poverty is a mental illness. That's what that really means. People think that, like, when people are saying, oh, the homeless people or whoever in the world is mentally ill, people think they're saying, oh, they're schizophrenic. That's not even what they're saying. They're saying that the poorness, or them being a dumped out orphan on the streets, is a mental illness. That's what they're actually saying. Poverty is a mental illness. Also, the quote-unquote sociopath / ASPD thing that I mentioned before, where if you're not letting people do whatever they want to you, and you're not being dragged and tortured through the matrix, then you're quote-unquote antisocial. Also, if you care about other people and want to see justice and people not being hurt, and also don't want to let people do whatever they want to you, that's also considered being antisocial. According to psychiatry, Batman is a quote-unquote sociopath. And he's done nothing bad, and honestly, he doesn't even hurt people as much as they really need to be because of his parents being unalived. So, Sixth Commandment culture and other stuff like that, I could say. But yeah, as I always say, the number one cause of homelessness is the lack of a family system and the breakdown of the family system.